spoke about certain things that features that normally destroy families. And we look at the families of Jacob and Isaac and Jacob. And we could see that favoritism, envy, and jealousy among members of the family. It can come from the parent side or among the siblings. And these things destroy families. And we need to be careful about it. We should pray and ask the Lord to outlaw it from our families. Then the following day, we looked at the families of Adam and Manoah. And there we pick out Cain. And then I've placed my phone somewhere. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, I've seen it. We look at Cain and then Samson. These were children trained by their parents. In fact, the first human being that was born into this world was Adam. Isn't it? Was Cain. Adam was created. And he came into being as an adult. But the one who was born as a baby and grew up, the first human being was Cain. And the first human being that was born, grew and turned against God. He became a semi-devil or what. The first human being born, right from there. Samson also took his own way. But they were brought well by their parents. And so we saw that you can do all that you can as parents to bring your child up. When they grew up, at times they will choose to go their own way. If they follow their heart instead of their head. And yesterday we looked at the family of God. That God is our Father. And if God is our Father, and we are all children of God, then we are all what? Siblings. Isn't it? And therefore, you are my brother and my what? Sister. Whether you come from north, south, east, or west, we are same humanity. Children of God. And we should see ourselves like that. And we ended yesterday like that. But this morning, you heard a sermon. And this afternoon, we are going to end with Augustine Sego. Mr. Augustine Sego. He's a doctor, but he said, let's put the doctor aside. And the name that was given to him is Augustine Sego. So that's what he wants. And so he is going to talk to us. He's an expert in molecular biology and tumor genetics. He is also an expert in biosecurity and PCR and DNA expert. In the morning, I was telling you that he can go into your DNA and trace you way thousands of years back and identify you. See? So he's a human identification specialist. Human identification specialist. He's also the lab director for Ghana Infectious Diseases Center, Ghana East, the Ghana East Hospital. He's also the leader of the National Case Management and Rapid Response Team. This came in during the COVID, you know. He's the leader, the whole Ghana. And he's also a special consultant for World Health Organization in Ghana. So he's coming to talk to us. From all this, you see that he is not a small man like me and you. He is simple, unassuming, but who can imagine what is inside him? So he is coming to give us this talk. Mr. Augustine Sego, you are welcome. Please.
Thank you.
Please listen well, and at the end we will ask questions, so take note.
Hello. Hello. Good afternoon to you all. Ooh, I had wanted to hide, but Pastor Na and Auntie Florence dig at the background and saw that all this that Pastor Na said about me was there. But I gave them only what is happening, only what is projected. I did not want anything. Yes, as he said, always when I'm giving lectures, I say that I have 2 kids. They are all girls. Pastor Na's wife saw me when I was young. And my wife got pregnant. So Pastor Na's wife was attending to my wife. Then I went to her one day and said, Auntie Flo, I've told my wife right from day one, I'm a scientist, and I know that I, as a man, have to determine the sex of my babies. But Auntie Flo, no matter what, I don't want a boy. This lady with Auntie Jane, all of them, they got me seated, talked to me the whole day, wanted to change my mind. But I said no. That is her luck. If I'm going to marry her, the day I was marrying her, I told her that I need only girls. Some of you may be wondering, why should this stand? Because how I troubled my parents, if I should get somebody to trouble me like that in present Ghana, I will hang myself. So it was serious. It was very, very serious. By then, I was now coming up as a genetics, so I had not gone through it so much, so I couldn't explain it to Auntie Florence and Co. very well. But now, I think from this lecture, Auntie Flo will bear me out and will support me that I shouldn't get a boy. That is aside. Okay. Please, you bear with me. And then I will say what I say every time I'm lecturing Ghanaians, that we have failed you. Every doctor in Ghana, which I may not exempt myself, we have failed all of you. Just because when we go in, we learn those big, big words, we learn those big, big letters, and when we come, we want you, who did not sit in the same class with us, understand those words. So we have started, and I have my part to play. Therefore, I'm going to go down, down, down. Anyway, I don't speak English. English is not in my CV. The languages I speak 7 languages. My own ever, I've lost it. When it comes to Latin, Spanish, Portuguese, Dutch, and so on and so forth, up to Korean, that one, I know it very well. But even my own language, ever, I've forgotten of it. As you can see by my name, the name is Sego, isn't it? Okay, there's a history behind it. Later, Auntie Flo will tell you the history. The actual name and the actual pronunciation is Seho. Yes, but there's a history behind it. So in order not to waste my time, I will come down. Please feel free, pause me anyhow. That is the gift that our God gave me. Wherever I ended when you paused, I will never forget. I may go round, but I will know wherever I stopped. So please pause me anyhow, anywhen, wherever, however, and we shall do it. So I want you to understand something. Just a few years ago, in 2010, anyway, do you know or do you ever hear that somebody from Kolebu brought DNA to Ghana, which made so many confusion here and there, up to a footballer getting... Did you hear that? Yes, that person is who is speaking to you right now. Yes. But when you are doing that, you don't have to reveal yourself all the time. Now that I've trained some people, so now I'm at the background, now I can say all this. And I can introduce myself as a human identification specialist. I have been in every episode of outbreaks. Be it Ebola, I led the team to Sierra Leone and Liberia. By then, I had gone to Congo thrice. Then there was a Zika outbreak at Brazil, which I was called and I went to. Shortly, in the north of Ghana, we had an outbreak of yellow fever, if you heard it. Yes, we did not want this to descend to the south, whereby the population is very, very huge. So we had to move from here, from Accra, then go there and be there for 3 months solid. Then we were able to contain that one too. For COVID, I believe there's no corner in Ghana that I've not been with COVID. So therefore, today's lectures, for me, it is very, very great, and we shall do it greatly. Okay? Grateful. Please, nobody should mention doctor. I am not. My name is Augustine Sego. If you want to see the doctor, come to my pocket. That one, it is there. But anywhere you meet me, Mr. Sego is the best for me. Thank you. So we are going to make a journey. A journey with a little background of introduction will be done. Then we shall end with some internal and external factors which may affect the goodwill, may affect the beauty, may affect the livelihood of a marriage. Also, we shall try to disseminate the undesired effects of hereditary factors. But we will not do all this without telling you how you are going to determine which factor, which genetic factor that may affect your marriage. So we shall do with how to identify before marriage some characteristics or some genetical effects that may come. We will not go. We will deal with some health checks. In other words, we may recommend some laboratory testing or some health recommendation that will bring out these things. After all, I have to give a summary of all that we have shared here. So that is all that the journey we are going to make. Okay, now I said that I did not want a boy, simply because for me, for you, everybody here, we should understand that God created us with 46 chromosomes. Chromosomes are something that makes us. If we will get eye, it's from a part of chromosome. If we will get 5 fingers, it is part of a chromosome. If we may get a shorter trunk, it is some part of chromosome that will determine that. So, these 46 chromosomes, I will pick 23 from my mother and 23 from my father. So because of this, I think by then I was just entering into genetics, so I said that, hey, so if my wife is going to give birth to a boy, that boy is going to carry half of my genes, half of my chromosome. Then he's becoming the stubbornest person in the world. If so, I don't want a boy. So therefore, this chromosome that we inherit, if my father should have a gene which can cause diabetics, and by me selecting them or by the division of the cell, if the 23 cells from my father, this gene which can cause diabetics, I pick it, then I will be, or I may be, having that as a trace of it. Are we there? Great. So, therefore, if within this 23 chromosomes from the mother, 23 chromosomes from the father come together, then I will get my 46 chromosomes. Okay? Great. As I said, when we combine them to bring forth, our baby will have everything that we have, or some sort of modification, because my wife is not the same as me. And so, my wife's genes, when it is dominant, may control my recessive gene. But if my gene is dominant, I believe you all understand. What to me, no? Yes. Then it will control the whole system. So therefore, this is how it goes. Okay. Then there's a question. So, can somebody have either more than that 46 chromosomes or less 46 chromosomes? Yes, so therefore, yes, at times, somebody, when dividing the 23 of the mother and picking the 23, the person may pick 24. Or the person may pick the 23 of the mother, but going to pick the 23 from the father may pick extra one. This division always happens before conception. This division and then the donation of the 23, it happens when the spermatozoa meets the ovum. In the fecundation stage, that is where this division should happen. So, my fellow, I beg you, today, dear, you are the only person I know. Every time when you cook, are you on point of salt? Yes. She cannot be on point on salt every time, even when she has a recipe. Okay? So therefore, whenever this division is going on, there are certain factors that may happen that one way or the other, that particular baby may pick either 24 or 23 or 22 from either parent. When it happens like that, a human being, normal human being should have 46. And so if you have 47, then it may change the whole system of that person. So we call it chromosome 47. The chromosomes are numbered for our identification, so that whenever we pick your gene, that's the female gene, and I pick my gene as a male gene, I can match them. I can match them to see that, oh, this one, the baby pick it from the mother. That one, the baby pick it from the father. This one, the baby pick it from the mother. That is how we match the genes. Okay? So therefore, when this happens, there is confusion in the system. Confusion that may happen either by the voice, either by the motors, that's how we walk, or either by that type that I have. Okay? So most cases, in all our generation, human beings have either XX, that is a female, or XY, that is a male. So when we give the two, I am always having the Y. So if I give my X to my baby, then the baby will automatically be female, because the mother always supports X. That is the reason why we say that it's the male who determines the sex of the offspring. Because the female is XX. So if he should give one, he will always give X. I am XY. So at times I will give X, at times I will give Y. If I give my Y, then the baby will be XY. So the baby will be a boy or a male. If I should give my X together with the mother's X, then the baby will be XX, which means that the baby will be a female. This is how the genetically we are taught. So when it is said that the baby should pick extra chromosome to be 47, then it is going to be either XXX or XYY or XXY. That person has genetically influenced. So we shall see examples of the babies with XXY, XXX, and so on and so forth. Okay? Grateful. As I've said, this happened before conception. It happens after conception. So these young ladies, I have permission to use them because I phenotype them and I ask for their parents' consent before using it. So if you want to use this picture in your teachings where it will be public, like public lectures, you want to use this feature, you must ask for their consent before. Okay? Yes. So this person is XXX. Okay? Great. During the developmental stage of the fetus or of the baby, we have internal factors and then external factors. The internal factors, those are what I have just tried to let you understand portion of it. That is, first, we will deal with two of these internal factors, then we will deal with one of the external factors so that we may not get ourselves confused, okay? So in internal factors, we have hereditary factor as the first one. That is what we were trying to understand. Whatever we get from our parents as a result of, if a parent, for example, has a trace of diabetes, the immediate parent, which is the son or the father of new baby, let's say my babies did not get a migraine because their mother had the migraine from the grandparents. Okay? So therefore, when going into marriage, there are certain things that I will recommend that we do before going into marriages. So hereditary factors are there. Then we have biological or constitutional factors. The biological factors, we have so many of them. Pastor, I believe when you were a baby, the tomato that you ate, if we should compare the calories or the minerals that you got from that tomato, now, if my children should get that one, they should eat a ton of tomatoes in order to get that. For instance, I believe Auntie Flo, and when she got married, when you ask her for marriage, I believe she had prepared some akukonkwanbi for you before. That chicken that Auntie Philo cooked by then, what you got from it to make up your chemistry compound in your body, if we want the same quantity and then the quality of the same proteins, the same vitamins that Auntie Philo used in that chicken, that ifiakoko, by then, if you want it today, ladies and gentlemen, you will have to eat a whole truck full of chicken in order to get the same quantity of vitamins or protein to build up the body. So therefore, nowadays, diseases have become frequent. Even up to the point that now we grow contomere with fertilizer. So we are reducing our chemical composition of our body through that. Okay? So those are the two main internal factors that influence the developmental stage of an individual. But we have others, but we will not dwell much about them, like intelligence, like emotional factors, like social nature. That's how we are built up. Our society even is now changing. Gone were the days if I'm in a bus and I meet or an elderly person, be it whoever, I will have to get up for that person. But now, even when you are there before, he will say, Pacho umpin kakra. That is the societal changes that these internal factors are giving us. So now we are changing. Emotional. Gone were the days that it is hardly do you hear that, oh, a child has hung himself or herself. But now it is rampant. So we will stop at that place. I say here we will deal with two. We will deal with the hereditary factors and then the biological or constitutional factors. Then the external factor, we will deal with the quality, the last point, quality of the facility and the opportunities provided by the social and then the cultural factors. These are what we will deal with here, okay? Great. So now, hereditary factors. We have said that mothers, this will occur in the mother's womb throughout the individual stages. That's from fetus, from zygote to fetus to baby to this, up to the delivery point. This will happen. Some genes and chromosomes are transferred to the offspring from immediate parents. That's what we have explained. And these will some at times have defects that we may not like. So some of these defects are what you are watching on the screens. The delay in motor development, how the person behaves. The person may even like to lie down, whatever, whichever, if it is dirty, whichever he or she may like to lie down. The motors are not working properly. Then children with low IQ, children with low intelligence, children with delayed speech. The fourth one is why I had always wanted to get baby girls, because I thought by then, when I was studying, I thought that maybe I would have been an attention deficit baby to my parents. Because when they have told me that, hey, as I was saying, I was an Navy, so fishing. My parents were fisher folks. They said I shouldn't go to sea with the company of my father. Oh. By the time they are aware, I'm on the sea. Anything you tell me not to do, I want to try to see the outcome. Why you want. So one day they said that, oh, we have some knife that we call baffle. I believe some of you may know. Baffle. It's an assault knife. It can be folded in and folded out. My senior brother brought one to the house, and then they said that this one, Kofi, don't touch it. If you touch it, it will cut you. It will cut your finger out. So I went, while they were not there, just placed my finger, press it, and behold, it knocked it off. This was how I was. So when I was studying genetics, I became confused. I thought, hey, then I could be this person. I could be one of these. So I had wanted not to get a boy. That was the reason. Then we have babies babies that in their constitution, anytime they eat, they will suffer some abdominal pain. So they will be pressing. They will be pressing. They will be pressing. These babies have extra X if they are girls. If they are boys, they have extra Y. Okay? So these are examples of babies with triple X. Now let's talk about the undesired effects, diseases and genetics, physical challenges, which may be a deformity to that baby, which we don't want, or the society generally discriminates them against. Some like this. This person has a physique from the head as a male physique, with the neck muscles like a male, the hair disposition as a male, but has breasts, protrude breasts. Then this male will have a long extremes, long hands, longer hands. The person will have a ladylike pelvis. You know, ladies have the pelvis structured for accommodating and then passage of the baby. So they have a longer hip, okay? Not for a man, but this person has it. Then the penis too has a penis, but then it has a ladylike pubic hair. Okay? These are some undesired factors that we as a society, we don't want. So chromosomal defects I have divided them into two so that we get the interpretation of it in a good manner. So I graded them into the single gene effect, which I called monogenic effect, then complex, which I called multifactorial. When this defect happens in one gene, then we will call it monogenic. But if these effects are multiple, you find it in the eye, where the chromosome that gives the eye color, you find it there, you find it in the hip, you find it in the breast, you find it in the hormones. Then it is no longer a monogenic, but it is multifactorial effect. All right, let's pause here. Then I will take you through some of these defects for understanding, for better understanding. We can't go through all, but I will try and make the popular one, the common one that we know. Down syndrome. The Down syndrome has extra chromosome. But this chromosome is at the chromosome 21. So he who has Down syndrome has extra chromosome, which is chromosome 21. This happens, and then the person will have defects in every part of that baby because he has one extra chromosome, which its effect must be divided in every portion of the baby. So that is chromosome 21. It's an extra chromosome. That the karyotyping, that is the one I showed you before. This one. This one is the karyotyping. We don't know the actual sex of that person. It's karyotyping. Or the big term for it is Klinefelter syndrome. Okay? Most of the times, these genetical factors confer cancers, cancer of different forms. Okay? So let's be aware of the fact that cancers may be inherited. Cancers may be inherited. Also, migraine. As I said, my wife has a migraine, but all her brothers do not have. But her brother's daughter has also migraine. When we checked, when we went back to do the genetic study, I saw that it was from the 3 grandparents. That's not from the immediate grandparent, not from the next one, but from the 3rd grandparent. That was picked alongside, okay? Spana Bifida. There are babies that when they are born, their columnar vertebra, this bone which sustains us from sitting and walking and everything we do with the backbone, it has a defect. And this defect brings about a hole, which is protruded, so these individuals can never lie on their back. So they always have to lie down like this. Okay? This defect, you will see them right now. Let me just... This is the bifida. That is how it happens. Okay? Instead of the spinal cord being aligned, there's a hole that protrudes out. So these babies have this effect. Then let's come to the monogenic, the one that happened in a gene, not the multifaceted that we have thought of. We have the fibroid. Fibroid, at times male may say that, oh, it is a female disease. No. Now, as we are speaking, we are getting some males with some form of fibroid. We don't know where, but they are now getting it. So let's see how the world is going. Okay. Then, some family have high cholesterol. The children have, the immediate parents have, the past parents have, and everyone in the house, one way or the other, bears the cholesterolemia. This is from the gene. This gene is dominant. And you know high cholesterol will by all means or will 70% or 85% go to block your vein, so you will have hypertension. So we have a family history cholesterol. Okay? Then the deafness. The deafness occurs in chromosome 7. Chromosome 7. It is very, very fragile chromosome. So if anything changes it, and later on we shall come to what risk factors that, and we will talk about that. Okay. Duchenne muscular dystrophy, that is in Bubuye, this one. Okay? You'll be because you want to know you bubu after that. No, there's something that went wrong before. And these male are culprits. So we shall talk about that. Okay? Neurofibromatosis. Neurofibromatosis is a big word. That is what I don't want to use. But it is something like pimples, but it comes all over the body. And it becomes troublesome when it reaches this point. Oh. When it reaches this point, it is very, very, I don't know even what to say, but it is troublesome. It will not even permit the person to go to the gatherings and others. It is troublesome thing. We get it from genes. Now, let me pause here and educate somehow about sickle cell. Okay? Sickle cell. Sickle cell, ladies and gentlemen, is a genetic defect. Everybody here has a round red cell. That round red cell has something like a concave, something like crack, and that is where oxygen is deposited. Then it can take it round to every part of the body. Okay? But when it comes to sickle cell, the cell will look like banana shape. So if a cell looks like banana shape, where on earth will it get to carry that oxygen which is round? Then it cannot be. This is how the right one is the right red cell, and the banana shaped one is the sickle cell. Okay? When blood is traveling in the vein, they overlap each other, they get well. But when it is circled, because of the banana shape, they can lock somewhere, and the rest too will come, and they will also lock. Therefore, by the time you are aware, they have locked up, they have made something like a mountain inside that vein. when that happens, the pains that the children go through is a lot. It's a lot. But then, sickle cell has different forms. So we have, in the normal human being, when all your red cell is a normal red cell, we call it, you have genotype AA. Okay? Genotype AA, you don't have problem. When going to marry, just ask your company, which genotype do you have? Whether the person has SS or another form, with your AA, it can compensate so that your children, some will take your AA and some will combine, so they will have, the West will have either AS or other forms. Like my wife. My wife is AS, and I'm AA. So that was the fair. Anyway, I had the luxury to be a laboratorian. So even before she says, before I ask her for cinema in Cape Coast, I told her, hey, let me check your blood group. But only that blood group, I pulled over 5 mils of blood. Then she asked me, but not only blood group. I said, yeah, blood group, but at times maybe I may forget. So I screened her from head to toe. That I could do because I was in the lab. But some of you may not have that luxury. Okay? So I checked. She was AS, and I checked my probability, and I saw that my probability is 3:1. Okay? So therefore, I asked her for her to be married, and she agreed. But when she agreed, she said, but you have only done the blood group. What about the rest? I said, you don't worry. By then, HIV had just come to being, so people were afraid, but I screened her even 7 times before that. Yes. Hepatitis B. Hepatitis B, yes, she's a health worker. She's just like Auntie Philo. She's a health worker, so she had vaccinated. But with hepatitis B, whether you have vaccinated or not, please go and check whether you produce the necessary antibodies to protect you before you say that you have been vaccinated. Because Ghanaians like me, I was vaccinated when we reached Cuba in 1979. God knows what Jerry sent us to do there. That one, it will be next topic to discuss. But then, I was vaccinated first round, 3 shots. When I went to check, 0. They've revaccinated, 3. When I went to check, 0. Another one. When I went to check, 0. 5 times. And let me say that most of Ghanaians are like my gene. they have the same difficulties. So if you go to vaccinate once and you say that, oh, I'm done, then you will be dodging yourself. Yes. Just go vaccinate and then go and check up to get your antibody levels. If it is more than 100 international units, then you can say that you are being protected. Okay. So HIV, I checked my wife, checked her antibody titers and everything before I said, oh, can I invite you for cinema? Then you went. But sickle cell has different forms. The most dangerous form of sickle cell is the AC or SC. The genotype SC, the S, we know that is troublesome, isn't it? But the C can change any time, any point in time, like S. So somebody that have SC may also get something small. The person may change totally to SS. So the SC people, please let us take time with them. Okay? I said the normal one is AA, we have AS, we have AD, and all others. But the troublesome ones are those SS and SC. Okay? So that is to the, I'll come there, don't worry. Okay. Now, let me take this opportunity to talk about Coombs test, because it is not common. Somebody may get married. The person is O negative. The husband is O positive. And when they conceive, when the woman conceives, miscarriage. The next time, miscarriage. The next time, miscarriage. How does it happen? This is where I'm to teach you how it happens. Okay. The O red cell has some antigens on them. Okay? So a lady with negative red cell, negative RH, that's the resource factor, when this lady meets a male who is O positive has those resources too. But the negative one has no resource. That's why we call them negative. These people will develop antibodies against the fetus, because the fetus is combination of the man, that's the spermatozoa division, and the woman ovum. So this combination, this complex that is formed, that is the egg, the lady will produce antibodies against this fetus. And the antibodies will kill that fetus. When this miscarriage happens, your next pregnancy, you have those antibodies already in your system. Therefore, as soon as the baby is formed, the antibodies are working on them. Okay? But what happens here is that when the young ladies, during our secondary school, during our friendship and others, our ladies will get locked up. Let me use the word locked up. They will get delayed menstruation. Not that they got delayed menstruation, they took a seed, but did not know that they were that rhesus negative. So that one will pass. They will tell the man, the young boy, that, oh, I missed my menstruation. But then, later on, it came. The man is happy. The lady is happy. No wahala. Okay. But that one will not occur to the lady that those antibodies have been developed in her already. So now, later on, the lady gets married, proper marriage. So therefore, it is time for procreation. And she takes a seed. When it happens like that, at times, we don't know. Science have not yet proven. It is one of my projects now as a genetics. Science have not proven that it is not only for O-positive male, but any other forms of positive blood, that antibodies that the lady has developed already when she was in secondary school works and takes off those babies. But we have way. If you get miscarriage and we test for Coombs and we see that you have those antibodies in you, yes, that one miscarriage will go. But immediately that miscarriage goes, you have to inject you with anti-D, anti-rhesus. That will neutralize those antibodies that you had before. Then you can conceive the next time and then continue. But the problem is, how would these young ladies get to know that they had what they termed as delayed menstruation was actually those cases? That is the problem. So therefore, in Kolebu, we have said that every lady that comes for delivery, whether the lady has had miscarriage or not, we have to do Coombs tests. Yes, ma'am. She will have the problem. She will have that problem. Okay? So therefore, you will see that this recommendation will come in my recommendation to the church to adapt those Coombs tests to what they normally request marriage couples, becoming marriage couples to do in order to foresee those things. Thank you. Okay. So these are some of the disorders that we have dealt with already. Physical challenges, we have talked about them. Breathing problems are physical challenges, and so on and so forth. Facial and limb abnormalities. Yes, these things are now happening so much just because of what we eat and what we drink now. Now almost all our waters are becoming so acid. Almost every water that we take is becoming so acid. Then we apply insecticide, weedicide. Now we don't want to even weed. We want to just apply weedicide. I caused trouble for one man who I know he will hate me till his death. That is behind the Kawakudi Junction, down there behind the BNI office. There was a man there who was cultivating cabbages. I like cabbages so much. This man, all the sewage that was coming from 37, that man had the opportunity to get those water, so he has broken that line and he gets the water from there to water the cabbages that So one time I was doing a research on genetical modifications. So I was searching for everywhere that the hospital waste ends. So we were tracing, and we went there. When we got there, the man, if you get to know how the cabbages were, you will love to purchase every day. But less did he know that the X-ray films washing from 37 end up there. And he was using it to water these cabbages. The cabbages too will pick those rays. And so it will look appetizing. And you will buy, and the next time, maybe your body is already, as I said, genetical effect, internal one happens before, okay? So your body is already, so you will get the monogenic defect, which you will transfer it not to yourself, but to your children's children. I reported this person to the police because police hospital was just near. And this man had a friend, a colleague in a secondary school mate who is a higher rank policeman who threatened me, but then that I shouldn't say anything. The man will stop. But every time I go, the man was continuing. So one day I went to the IGP by then. Then I took the staff number of that colleague of his, and I went to make an official, I wrote it down, whatever I have done. Then the police took up. I went to the EPA, they came there, they sealed that concrete that they have, they put concrete on it. This man had the guts to open a new one. Because when he waters with ordinary water, he doesn't get that. So later, I had to make an official court case, which the court demanded that he and his friend policeman should be terminated their appointment. From then, every time the man will send me threatened messages, but I think I have done what God wished me to do. Though I wouldn't go to any church, I will have this as a secret. Because pastors are here, and when they hear that, they will work on you. Yes, that one I know. Yes, but what I do for myself, as I don't want to go to churches like this one, anytime Auntie Florence calls me, anywhere, and I like S.D.A. I have gone to so many temples now that people think I'm fellowshipping with S.D.A. But thanks to God. And thanks to Auntie Florence. Okay. So that is Coombs' test for you. We shall deal with another thing. Yeah, this is just for you to see. We may get physical weakness as a result of these changes, whatever we eat, whatever we drink. We may get nervous system effects. We may get biological or constitutional factors working on us. Our hormones, the hormones get changed at any slight changing. So therefore, every little change that happens in the hormones are due to genetical factors. Now, this is where I want to end. Predisposing factors of genetical abnormalities. If the church wish, first, before the church takes up a marriage, they should see to it that they know a little bit of the family history of genetics. Then whether the male or the female has any form of genetical disorder. Whenever a female passes 50 years and above and gets babies, those babies are prone to these genetical changes. So do male. Male 55 and above are prone to that because, now let me say one thing here. You may see that I may jump the gun. You may get to know there's a Semen Analysis somewhere, which we may talk plenty about this, but let me jump the gun. The male here, please, when you are going to sleep, if it's better, if it is in your power, if you can separate your children, it is better you sleep without clothing. Or you use pajamas. Ma'am, Do you know why pajamas have the flap open with only one button? Do you know it? Okay. The reason why pajamas has only one button in the middle of the flap too is long, is that whether you quail in sleeping, whether you sleep ajar, supine, anyhow you sleep, there will be two holes open because of the bottom. Then air will enter from one point and exit from another point. When it happens like that, the scrotum has its own temperature. But my father, Kofi Doche, was not endowed, so he has all of us, including himself and my mom, in a single room. In a single room too, God has made all of us in such a way that's genetical. At 1:30 to 3 o'clock, somebody should wake up. And you can imagine, my sisters were elderly like me, more than me. And so if my father does not cover, if my father does not wear something on and sleeps, and 1, 2, 3 o'clock that way, this thing wakes up. And my sister turns and sees it. Isn't she going to say snake? Okay. So therefore, our socioeconomic situations happens that we don't take care of our scrotum. So therefore, the males here, when we sleep, we sweat. Why? Because the temperature becomes higher. Therefore, that was good. Therefore, and nowadays, gentlemen too, we like wearing tight, silk, boxer shorts to sleep. When we do that, that temperature that happens there in the groin surpasses the body temperature. Therefore, we cook every day. We are cooking the spermatozoa that yes. Every day we cook it. So therefore, the time that we want these animalitos to function, they are dead already. Then we will attribute it to our local mentality of our grandparents that whatever happens in marriage, if there is no procreation, is the fault of the lady. So we will tell the lady that you are the problem. Meanwhile, when the lady persuades us to go for a checkup, we will say, no, me, when I was in school, I got a baby. I got a baby when I was in school. So therefore, this one cannot be me. If you go yourself. But whenever the wives convince them and they come, let me say it here, 98% of the infertilities are attributed to the male infertility. And the small part of infertility, which is less than 2%, half of it, we call it incompatible fertility. Incompatible fertility just means that ladies' body chemistry tends to be acid, whilst male body chemistry is alkaline. Okay? Therefore, when acid gets to the alkaline, then there's neutrality. Then whatever the alkaline has made it, like Okonte, I don't know how I should say it in key. Like starchy. Okay? When that starchy is because of the alkalinity. So when it gets to the acid, then it frees this konkontima, then they can swim faster. They can swim faster. All of them, they swim by tail. So the tail goes faster, then they move straight to hit the ovum. So how many of them can hit the ovum for the ovum to spark? It doesn't break. It gapes. Gaping means it opens and closes at that time. So by that time that it opens, by then some of this kokontiba is ready to hit. Then it will enter, then it will close. Then fecundation will start. Then the division of the genes will start going on. But if you see somebody who has ever cooked his kokontiba already, or the person is wearing tight boxer shorts, so we will find out that the spermatozoa, some have their neck broken. And if the neck is broken like this, and it must move by the tail, so while the tail is propagating it this way, it is going this way. How possible? How can this type of spermatozoa hit the ovum for the ovum to charge and then gape? It can never happen. Others too, because of the heat that they have accumulated there, have made them. And if you get a stubborn baby like me, when I was a child, Mom, do you have a child boy? Okay. Has your child one time come to you that, Mom, when I was playing football, somebody kicked my balls? They won't. Yes, he plays football, and by all means it will happen. When it happens, they hold it and they say, jump, jump, jump. But he should have gathered the courage to inform you so that you send the person to the hospital for the person to do semen analysis. But in our socioculture practices, semen analysis from boys younger than 17 is prohibited. Because, Mom, are you going to tell your boy to bring out the semen? How? Which form? Okay? So that one, our sociocultural beliefs have made us to hate it. But I like it. I like it. I can tell you for free, I like my culture hidden on this fact because some countries like Cuba, like Italy, Spain, and others, even including USA, who wants to get the best male fertility quality, so at age 17, they will send their male children to go and do semen analysis. And they will do by masturbation. So because of this, it has ticked. When you send it, a younger child knowing that he can masturbate to get out whatever feelings he has, it will become his addiction. So therefore, a small country like Cuba, it is leading the world in homosexuality. So with this fact alone, I like my culture that we don't do this. But whilst we don't do that, then we have to have a form to do it. So therefore, we have recommended that if the church can take it up, that whoever the church graces the marriage, they should provide the semen analysis first. Yes. The male. The man. But the man is ready. This one, it is not going to be underage. That will stick. From there, you are going to marry. It is a recommendation, though. But let's think through. Let's think through. It is a recommendation, though, but let's think through. If it is feasible, the next time the man is going to marry, okay? So therefore, if this man, when he was younger, he has been wearing boxer shorts, me, I was stubborn, so I was not bathing for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I wear one jeans, non-washed, for a long time. We will see it here. For a long time, unwashed, and we think that it is a jeans. So that one, it looks fine. No, it is not. Okay? It gets effect to the scrotum. And all this add up. If we had time, or next time that we meet, we shall talk about how male misuse blood. Okay, we will have time, and we shall talk about that. So, yes, ma'am. No, that one I won't permit. Sego. Yes, ma'am.
So, I got to know that when male children suffer mumps,
Yes.
it's a swelling.
Yes.
So I got to know that when male children suffer mumps, even in their childhood days, and it's not treated because an infection, but when we're growing up, when anybody gets mumps, they put some color. There was a myth that the shreya makes it go down. But I got to know that mumps swells up and goes down by itself. It doesn't mean the infection is treated. So then if they are not taken to the hospital for antibiotics and they grow up, there's a high tendency of they becoming infertile.
95%.
Okay, I want you to touch on that a bit.
95% of that. Grateful. We would have touched with that, but since you have brought it, we will deal with it. treatment of infections. You know, these are genes. They are the minute portion of our constitution. If we can say past building, it is a block, okay, or bricks. So when a brick is solved, another brick will come on top, another brick will come on top, so it will fall, isn't it? So therefore, these genes are the building blocks of our body. Every infection goes to attack the gene. Every infection goes to attack the gene. So if it's not treated for a long time, these mumps that the lady talked about, it goes into the spermatozoa duct. That is where they like. So we call them spermatotrophic. Where that is a pig. That's where they like. So where the spermatozoa is being produced, that is where this mumps virus, they like staying. So if they go there and the spermatozoa is there, they will be eating the ducts that will form those spermatozoa. Therefore, for a long time, you may not get that quality duct for the spermatozoa to be produced. Thereby, by the end of your 21 years, 23 years, 24 years, whilst you may be doing hard work, you may be using some of your fertility hormones to do your work, then there will not be any form of motivation for that duct to produce, because the duct is affected already. Therefore, what the lady said is actually what happened. And in Ghana, we are seeing that to be the main cause of male infertility. These and other sexual transmitted diseases that we will talk about. Okay? Pastor, do I have some time? Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Most of the time we talk about sickle cell as being very important, and that we have to check before we get married and all those things. But I watched a program that talked about thalassemia.
Thalassemia?
Yes, thalassemia. Can you elaborate on it for us?
Yes, ma'am. It is here. Okay. Thalassemia, sickle cell, allergies. Allergies that we think, oh, I have an allergy on whenever I eat this or that. Whenever I eat this or that, I get allergy. If the allergen constantly gets to you, so you react to that, mind you, it is changing somehow your one gene. It is changing something in your gene. Therefore, it must be taken care of. So thalassemia is a form of condition. It's just like sickle cell, but it is the worst form of sickle cell. Such that when you are thalassemia, beta thalassemia, by you drinking even cold water, you can get rough. Your head will ache you like you have the whole world on top of your head. At times too, very little air, cold air. You may think that you are being put in an ice box. Thalassemia, but it doesn't, how it happens is not frequent like sickle cell, but it is the worst form. Okay? And there's tests for that, so you can test for thalassemia whilst you are testing for sickle cell so that you will know at hand. Okay? When you know it, the management is more friendly than sickle cell. All right. It happens like sickle cell. You will take the seed from your parents or your grandparents. Genetic.
The effect of it, can you experience it at an older age, or it starts from the younger age?
It starts from the younger age whilst you are developing. But if you go to the adulthood, whilst you are using your brain and thinking, whilst you are always occupied with something to think, it at times modulates the form, the severe form. Okay? That is how it is. Yes, ma'am.
Second question, which I need your advice on, is in my family, maternally, my mom's side, we have keloids. I had this from infancy. It keeps growing. I mean, it's been growing as I'm growing. My mom doesn't even remember how it all started. But along the line as I grow, any little cut, if I don't take care, it grows also into a keloid. It could even just be a pimple bump.
Yes.
And I've realized my younger daughter has also taken it from me. I have uncles, cousins who also have it, who are maternally related. It's very painful and itchy.
It is.
Yes, especially when it draws a lot of blood. So when you become anemic, it aches. Very painful.
It is.
And I wanted to find out, is there a way you could suppress it, especially with my little girl? I am growing. Now I've realized that at an older age, it's shrinking by itself. Recently, I had to undergo surgery at Kolibu to get rid of some of them because my CS section and all those were growing into big keloids and all. It was a bit disturbing. Even after the surgery,
yes,
they recommended injections. I took it for like 3 months, and I was having an adverse reaction, so I stopped. And the growth is becoming rampant again. So I had to just take my mind off it, but it's a bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, it is.
So I want to know what I can do to help my younger daughter.
I share with you your pain, your frustrations and other, but this is genetical. But then, the moderation to your daughter, I will recommend that even the piercing of ears and others, she should take her time. You should educate her very well so that she takes that, because nowadays young ladies, they want to have keloids in children when they are babies. It doesn't work much. But as they take years growing, then we use some of the growth factors, okay? But for them, they gain growth factors. So whilst they are growing, then it becomes apparent. It becomes way high, okay?
Yes, just when she was around 6, her father mistakenly went to pierce her ears. And it started. That's how we got to know.
Yes.
Quickly, we got something to take care of it, and it shrunk up.
That's steroids.
Yes, we rubbed it on it, and it's gone. Mine, alcohol helps. Anything with a high volume of alcohol.
The alcohol will reduce the pigment coming out, and it will reduce the itches a bit.
Okay, yeah.
Yes,
It does.
yes.
But it doesn't really,
It doesn't really
yes,
take
it just
it
suits it a little bit for me.
Yeah.
So with that, we got to know. Then later she had something, a little growth on the leg, and it also turned into a keloid. We rubbed, and it went down. So,
And pimples, she should take very care.
but I want to know, is there any medication, something that she can be given to suppress it so it doesn't?
Yes, ma'am. There's a suppression steroids. But how long? And you know that God has told us, though I won't go to church, that every too much of a little thing is bad. Steroids are poison. Okay? Therefore, when you continuously inject it, it will affect you either way, badly too. Okay? Therefore, the doctors, the skin drafters, the plastic surgeons, they take very careful of administering steroids because they know that it is cumulative. Steroids are cumulative. No problem.
I want to really.
Yes,
So
please
I realized the injection I was being given after the surgery recently at Kolebu is a steroid. The one.
it's a steroid.
So after the 3rd month, I was having a skin lightening. My veins were showing. You could see my veins green on my skin.
Exactly.
And that was the
You were good.
effect that made me got scared, and I stopped taking it.
You were good. You were good. You know, Michael Jackson had this problem. And Michael Jackson resorted in steroids. And so, up to a point, you see Michael Jackson, you can say that he's a ghost. Because the skin, the steroids accumulated up to a point that now the skin can no longer take it again. So therefore, it started rotting. Okay? So steroids, doctors take very care when they are given. So I thank you very much for noticing that it is changing your skin tone. And so you stopped. Okay? But I would suggest that, if possible, every evening when going to sleep, just wash down with warm water. That will take it down. That's genetically recommended. Okay, good. Yes. Okay, good.
So earlier on, you mentioned that sometimes children begin to have, after eating, they have pains. Yeah, okay. That means for a girl, she has an extra Y, the chromosome. If I heard it right,
It's possible.
it's possible.
It's
Not always the case.
100%.
Okay. So,
But it's better you go to check so that they
do the analysis and all
yes.
that. Oh,
If it's not, then you have your peace.
okay.
But if it is, then growing up, it will become more severe.
Okay. So do you have to go to a specialist for that analysis, or any medical practitioner can?
No, you need a special lab.
Special lab.
But it's blood test. They will take your blood and do it. Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So please hold on your peace. I'll get back to you. Okay. First. Okay. So therefore, that is the second set. Allergies have told about semen analysis. Semen analysis must be done for every male, whether you have problem or not. How to provide it for analysis? When you make your mind, you will be told what to do, and you get it done. Because I believe you all heard that when we went to Sierra Leone for Ebola, it became apparent that we saw Ebola hiding in the acrosome of the spermatozoa for 90 days. Therefore, Therefore, all males that got infected with Ebola and they got rid of the Ebola ended up giving it to their wives. And their wives, because the male were treated, the Ebola that they had were the worst form of Ebola. So their wives could not survive. So for semen analysis, every sexual transmitted disease will hide in the acrosome of the semen. This I came to inform you, so that the male here who have not done it, but we don't like washing our trousers. Yes, I'm a male, and I did it when I hadn't gone through this. And so it bothers me. It has stake here. So every presentation I make, whether it is from this topic or not, I make it a point to chip in this. So I'm doing it here too, because this is what it is. Yes, ma'am. Okay, please. This is a contribution, so yes, it is allowed.
Okay, so sometimes it's good to share some of these experiences for you to know the reality of it. After I got married, it took us 7 years before we had our first child. We had to go through a lot of gynecological checks here and there. Eventually, it was discovered. That's why I asked you about the mumps. Because one of the things that they said attributed to it was because he had mumps when he was younger. And it wasn't treated. These are real. And to get it corrected, it wasn't easy.
It wasn't.
It took God's grace to have a child after 7 years. So I want you to take these things serious. They are real, and they are so frustrating. It's the worst thing that could happen to you when you get married. Childlessness and the stress that comes with it. It's not easy. So please, that's all I can add to it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So please let's get down here, then we'll go. Okay. Breast cancer screening can be done. Okay? For the lady going to marry. But here, I want all of us here to pay attention to a test which is not usual in your ears. Renin-aldosterone ratio. It's a lab test. Okay? Ratio. It's a normal test that we do, but people do not attribute it to the fact that it can detect when a male is going to be infertile. Okay? Because it gives, when this ratio is high, when this ratio is above 29 that way, all the time the man will feel hypertension, but nothing will worry the man. Will feel heat, nothing worries the man. Only that he feels heat and he feels palpitation, little palpitation. That is all. When that thing starts happening, and you check your renin-aldosterone ratio, and it is more than 29, the doctors know what to do to bring it down. That solves it. That solves it. Okay? So let's take note of that. Blood grouping we've talked about. Now, all in-laws, and the stress is on in-laws. Because there was a saying to me that if I want to know how my wife will look like, I should just look at my mother-in-law. Yes, it happens. It happens. When you check the cardiac enzyme, you get it. The lipid profile, you get it. If your daughter will report anything of the cholesterol to your children, it will appear in your in-law. Okay? Because science have proven that cholesterols are given by the in-laws of the ladies. And the lady can give it to the child, which is not even a female. Okay? But because of our constitution, we all the time have a modulation to that. But the female, they don't have that modulation to that. So, in-laws should do this. Now, one more thing, then we will close from here. These are all tests, the newborn screening. So one more thing here. Great. I put here oral health examination. How happened that I want to see one day that we will all participate in a wedding here. And then the pastor leading the wedding will show us the oral health examination report of both parties. I must tell you a secret. The teeth, in between them, it harbors very dangerous parasites that they grow, and because of their hidden place, there's no air passing there. Therefore, they become anaerobic pathogens. They hide there. These male are culprits, because I was once a boy, and I know it takes God. I started brushing my teeth when I started having a girlfriend. Emema mwa ha meboa. Emema mwa ha meboa. That is it. Okay. But these anaerobic pathogens will hide there, and if the lady do not have them, and so by our means of making love, we get them inside the mouth of that lady, they go straight to the womb to affect whatever is there. But until you go to dentist for oral checks, you will not know. And I blame the dentist too. We have kept so long on this one that we have to preach it all the time. Please, let's check our oral health. Let's do it. And if they find it, some mouthwash will do. And you will be rid of it. And your wife will get rid of it. It is simple, but it has been found disturbing the lady's womb so much. Let's take note of this. Thank you.
Some may have questions. Yes. So we thank you very much. This is the reason why when weddings are being done, some of us don't support kiss your bride. Instead, what? Embrace. Yes. All right. Now, if you have questions, please come here. Those who have questions, please come to this point here.
I put it there.
You can see.
Is it one? Hello.
Thank you.
Okay, so please, my question is concerning the chromosomal abnormalities. Usually we hear cases of persons having two sex organs. What causes that?
Karyotyping.
I want to understand it.
Grateful. Karyotyping happens with a multifactorial factors. One, it happens, when I was talking to the predisposing factors, there's something that I left it because of time. But now I know that this question will come, so that I will use it to answer. Men here, or male counterparts, are now drinking concoctions. If they don't have the potency of what they take normally, they will add it up to others. Up to the time that now they have alombo bitters with herbafric, they call it herbfrigo. They don't know that this hard liquor is an external factor which will affect the hormones. Hormones not for you, but for your unborn child. This hard liquor and then the mixing of the hard liquor that we don't know the type, the constituents, whatever is constituting it, it is killing us. Also, ma'am, have you ever seen a welder before? Welder. Who makes two metals to, okay. Have you ever watched that fire before? You do, isn't it? Sometimes, isn't it? Do we know that that fire is radious, is radioactive? Yes. Elsewhere, in Korea, now they have banned everybody, all their factories who are using welding should be in a room, not for people passing to even watch it. Because we want to prove that those radioactives are working on even a passerby person. I went there for 6 months first, then we went to do our postdoc, also 3 months. So, yes. Yes, the distance, is a race. And I'm from so the distance, we cannot actually tell that from this place to this place, when you are standing there, you will not get. Okay. But it is now, as soon as we presented our paper, Korean government banned everybody who is doing welding at a place. These and others are the most problem of having karyotyping babies. The babies that they were born male and all the appearances a female. They have 2 organs, but one is developed more than the other. When the karyotyping test is done in a smaller baby, yes, the surgeons can eliminate one. The prominent one will be left for the person to grow with it. But how many of us have that money to do that? Okay, so that is for you. Okay, the next person. I hope your question is answered. Thank you.
Mr. Segu, this one, I wanted to direct it to Pastor as the head of Home and Family Life.
He invited me,
yes.
So you can...
There was one test here that they talked about all in-laws. Cardiac enzyme, lipid, renal profiles. I'm just wondering which in-laws. I'm wondering how something like this could be possible.
It is possible. It is possible because before I married my wife, I'm not dragging, but I'm coming to the point. Because I wanted to be so stubborn, when I was marrying my wife, at the wedding, I raised my hand that the pastor should give me time to talk. The pastor was not. I did that. Then I was married in my own house, so I went to take the mic. And I said to the audience that, please, this wedding is for me. You are just witness to my wedding. And I'm promising you that, first, when my wife's breasts sag, I'm divorcing. Yes, whatever you are doing happened there. People were, hey, ooh, 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 ooh. Then I said, I would like to check all my in-laws. Yes. Then they said the third one. Which is the third one? Now they Yabro. Which is the third one? Then I said what I said here, that I want my wife, though I am determinant of the sex, but bear me witness. If my wife bring me a boy, I will divorce. Okay. This is because, look, so many diseases, genetically factored diseases, are happening because we don't know where it is coming from. And when we know it at the baby's time, when we know that this baby is having a predisposition of getting, let's say, diabetes, it can be checked from the infancy. And it can be modulated. As soon as the baby is born, we are on the baby. If a baby will have cholesterol problem at the adulthood, it can be modulated in a way, soft way, at the baby time. So it seems challenging, but please, churches, they are all factors. They are all factors. They can be checked. They can be checked. Arthritis. Okay? They should all be checked before marriage so that you will be aware that, hey, if I'm doing this, I believe that if my sister had known that she has a keloid effect, I believe there were certain things she wouldn't have done when she was young. Okay? I have keloid in my family too. But it is just by the way that I became a genetics, so I educated my children, and my children, none of them, even they don't wear earrings that has hole. They wear the press one, and they are fine. They are fine. So all this, when we know it on time, it can be modulated. Let's check in-laws.
Pastor Osempa.
Yeah. The topic is genetic effect on marriage.
Yes.
We are in the church. Sorry. We are in the church. When you began, you said God gave us 46 chromosomes. So that is where my mind has been circling since the beginning of the teaching. Sorry.
Yes.
So my question is, you said in the trait of in the chromosome trait, the fourth one is ADHD, as character trait, which you say may be a case.
Yes.
So now my question is, can a child with that trait be rearranged or be treated with the Bible teachings?
Oh, no, it is true. It is true. Yes, it can be, because we have social natural that can work on the genes too.
Okay.
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 Social natural practices that can work on the genes. Okay.
So the second question is, can faith, let's say two people that have this opposite incompatible, gene, yeah. So can faith overwhelm the effect of it? For example, Sarah was 2 times over menopause, but then she conceived. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. That is, you are great.
Yeah.
You are great. Please.
Then the woman with issue of blood, she said, if only I will touch the garment of Christ, I will be healed. Then she went ahead and touched that garment and was healed. This we are beyond science.
Okay.
So can faith really work on that too?
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Your question is valid because we are in a religious setting. Okay. But let me say it here. Yes, Sarah got child at that age. Remember, when I was teaching, I told you that I made Pastor Na a reference that the chicken that Pastor ate at that time, the ingredients, the vitamins that he got, that built up his position is not what we are taking now. Now, at first, all our yams, the yam that is produced, can last for more than 6 months before they go waste, before they go bad, before they go rotten. But because we have added monocytic chemicals as a component of fertilizer, okay, this has changed the dynamics of yam.
Sorry, but our God cannot change.
Yes, our God has not changed. But whatever we use in order to grow, in order to get that faith, faith does not work in vain. Okay? So, God gave us, all of us, His grace. But the grace will work when you are prepared. So, when you say your faith will work for you in this way, do what God wants you to do. Thank you.
Okay, I think mine is that we know that when it comes to some of these genetic defects, the main things that we mentioned when you are going through counseling, I think the main one that people base on for people not to get married is the sickle cell. That is that one. That's the main one that has been advised that when it's AS or when it's AS and SS, they're not going to advise it, or SS and SS. But aside that, what are the other components that can also make it difficult for two people to be together? Because I think some of them can be managed, but which ones cannot be managed that we must be careful of out of the ones that you've mentioned? And then the second one is about our diets. Looking at everything you've mentioned, yes, our diets and everything is refined today. But what are the ones that today, I think that people have mentioned the Indomie and stuff, but what are other things that we need to look out for that may affect our genetic components? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Great. It's not only sickle cell that should be based on because we know the effect. Okay? It is because we know the effect. Even with the sickle cell, there is a percentage, 25%, that the unborn will not get the sickle. Okay? So, when we talk of sickle, we want the totality. We don't want any skirmishes. Okay? That is why the church has consumed it, that they want to see you with your sickle cell. But all others, especially the O, blood grouping. The blood groupings. Yes. The churches should stand and then make sure. Because if you are O and your male is O and you have the Coombs antibodies, just that the church will advise you, when you get your first baby, please vaccinate or inoculate or immunize between 48 hours. And it will take care. That is all. But we don't wait till miscarriages happen before we will start. By then, it is getting a little bit late. Okay. Also, arthritis. Trace of arthritis. If you get to know that my mother-in-law has arthritis, then what will we see? But it's the church that should be able to inform the couple that, do you know that your mother-in-law is this? So what are you planning to solve it? Yes, it can be managed with the child when the child is born. Okay? We have solution to that. But the child will grow up to 80 years, and that solution may not work on that child. Diabetes. If the child is prone to that diabetes because of the traces that the mother has or the grandparent had, yes, as soon as the child is born, we are monitoring. Okay. Every test that the child does, we will add fast blood sugar. Okay. As soon as we get picked up, it is managed there and then. Insulin becomes sensed. Insulina becomes sensed. Then they start producing. We have gotten so many babies now managed, and now they don't need to even inject insulin. But because we knew it at the beginning, okay? Yeah. So this is another test. Yeah. And then the food. The food. The refined foods that will affect our genetics. Yes. So many of them are now in place. One, you know, now because of the galamsey, almost all those areas where our food basket is are getting the soil contaminated with mercury or lead. Cyanide. Okay? And these are components that the body do not need it so much. And the food, the plant takes them and make use of them. Okay? So they incorporate it in the plant. When you go and you buy and you eat, you have introduced it indirectly to your system. That one, we sign and we make ourselves, like the man said, we pray to God. Because we will never know. Okay? Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am.
Doc, please, this question is a bit customized.
Please, my name is Sego Augustine.
Mr. Sego.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. A family friend visited the doctor, for a checkup, and it was realized that he is an AB negative. And she was told that there will be problems with her pregnancy. But unfortunately, Ghanaian doctors, when you ask questions, they get uncomfortable. I don't know why. I always fight them. The body is mine, and I ask, and I should have answers. But it looks as if they get uncomfortable. So what short advice would you give such a person?
AB negative.
AB negative, yeah.
Okay. AB negatives are difficult, not with that pregnancy that they are talking about, but pregnancy has complications. And so when the person is going to delivery, perhaps they may need blood. And to get the whole Ghana, the population of AB negative in Ghana is 0.003. Yes. I'm not lying. It's 0.003% of Ghanaians who are AB negatives. And we find all of them. Do you know where? Around Dodua. Yes. I'm a genetic expert, so that is what we do. We map our genetic factors. Okay. This small number, they are around Dodua, Latte, that area. So you can imagine if this lady in pregnancy and needed blood, where? That was the problem that the doctor could not explain it to you very well. Okay, so that is it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sego. So mine is a contribution. And what Mr. Sego is saying is very true. My wife is B negative, and I'm O positive. So I know that we went through that process of the antigen and all that. When my wife was going to give birth for the first time, I was supposed to get some blood, as you said, and I was at the Kolebu Blood Bank. And when I went early and I looked at the chart, and I was looking at the blood in stock, and I saw B negative. There were 8 pounds of blood at Kolebu Blood Bank. 8 pounds only. And I was a little bit scared. But you see, certain times you don't think about certain. Because I was a regular blood donor, it was easy for me. So they considered. So sometimes when we are doing the blood drives, please, we'll be doing some very soon. I'm encouraging all of you to be part. It's very important.
It is.
But I think aside that, maybe, Daniel, to some part of your question, I think what is most important for young people coming up is the awareness So I don't think one issue about sickle cell or this or that will be the reason why we say, okay, I'm no longer going with this guy or not. There are a number of things. So once you are aware, as Doc's saying, you prepare yourself, you condition yourself, you know what you are in for, and then you plan what you want. If it is not feasible, that is it. But the awareness is important so you can make your decision out of it. So it's not a matter of, so I am SS and she's AS and the probability is high, so that's the end of it. I think there are more things to consider when you are going into a marriage, health inclusive and all other things else that we need to be aware of. Thank you.
Thank you. But the in-laws must be checked.
Just a quick one.
Yes.
Why is blood donation from senior citizens rejected?
Thank you. Thank you for that question. That is a very good question. I'm not here saying that all other questions are not good. Okay, but that is a very good question.
We're talking, so we didn't hear the question.
The question is that why elderly people, why senior citizen people's blood are not used as a donor. We don't accept it as a donor. Okay? It's simply because that person has gone through the chain. His antibodies are sharp. He has everything that is happening being attached to that body. Okay? So, the antibodies that are in it is very, very sharp. And most often too, the elderly people too, their immunity is coming down, so they harbor so many. So if we should start screening an elderly person's blood, then one elderly person, the number of agents we will use can cater for about 70 people. So all these are taken into consideration. That is the reason why we say we will not accept an elderly person's
Okay, so just a follow-up on Auntie Clara's question. The ABs, is it possible that they can take an O, the O positive?
The AB?
Yeah.
They can take O positive plasma.
Okay.
Not the whole blood.
Wow.
Plasma. Not the whole blood.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much. If there's no other question, then I will say last point that S.D.A, wherever, whenever, if only I'm in the country and you call me, I will be pleased to come. Thank you.
So on your behalf and on the behalf of the whole church, everybody here, we say thank you very much, Mr. Sego, for educating us on this. You can see that if you have a child, and the child is normal, and it's okay, it's only by God's grace. Because there are a whole host of things that can affect our children, genetically, that we don't have control over them. And so let's pray. May God have mercy on us. Yes. So Mr. Theko, once again, we thank you very much. You mentioned that maybe next time you may come here and talk about how men lose. Men, there's a way you waste your energy and blood. Energy and blood. Men especially, not women, men. So maybe the men's fellowship, Adventist men. The young men, yes. So maybe we may also arrange for that this time to come. It has been very difficult. Mr. Sego, we were trying to get him to come here. He was all the way in Korea. And he came recently, and that's how he came back. So it's not easy to get him. But by God's grace, he has found time to come. We thank you very much. May God bless you. God bless you. We shall bring our program to an end now. You can see that. By singing from our hymn number 47. Number 47. And then we shall ask, we want a lady to come and pray for us. A lady to come and pray for us too. Yes, who is that? Otherwise, I'll mention somebody. A lady. By the time we finish singing, maybe we should have a lady here to pray for us, to close the Sabbath and usher us into the new week. Hymn 47. Shall we stand and sing? God who made the earth and heaven, darkness and light. Shall we sing? Go. God who made the earth and heaven, darkness and light. You the day for work have given, for rest the night. May your angel God defend us, slumber sweet, your mercy send us, holy dreams and hopes attend us all through the night. And when morn again shall call us to run life's way, may we still water before us, your will obey. From the power of evil hide us, in the narrow path guide us, never be your smile denied us all through the day. Now the last stanza. Holy in heaven, all holy Son, Holy Spirit freely giving, blessed three in one. Grant us grace, we now implore you, till we lay our crowns before you, and in work their strength adore you, while
Shall we all bow for a word of prayer? Father, I want to thank you so much for this wonderful Sabbath day. We thank you for the enlightenment, the education we've attained today. We ask that you please help us to be able to take the necessary steps to do what we have to do to prevent some of the unwanted situations that we will be confronted with. We ask, committing Dr. Sego into your hands in a very special way. Continue to endow him with wisdom. Help him, strengthen him, renew his strength, and help him to be able to educate more on some of these things so we can all be able to take good care of ourselves. We want to thank you for the Sabbath evening. As we depart from here, Father, we ask that you please go with us. Prepare the way, save us from any accident, anything that the evil one might have been planting on our way, and please take us home safely. And above all, we ask that you please see us through the ensuing week safely as well, to the glory of your holy name. For those and many other blessings do we ask for through the wedding name of our Lord and Master Jesus. Amen.
Amen. And now shall we share the grace together. May the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, the love of God, the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with us now and forever. Amen. We thank you very much. All those who came from other churches from the